I'm Carolyn Berry, author, natural healer, and spiritual teacher. As a spiritual teacher, part of my purpose is to help people identify what it is that they truly want to do in life. Whether it's to be happy or be more successful in their job, be a better mother or a better father. We all have those things that we deal with in our life and the emotions that come up, but you just need some tools to help deal with those things. Instead of letting that frustration build, the same thing with all of the issues that you have physically with your body. I teach people a way to work all those things together so they can truly get what they want out of life. I've always had this strong urge ever since I was young to help people, whether it was in massage or even when I was in the corporate world and I was hiring and managing people. My management philosophy was that I work for you. I wanted to empower you. My whole goal was to find people that are better than me and stronger than me and healthier than me. I love empowering people. I love to help people find their own truth and their own purpose in life. Sometimes we're going to have those days where we are unhappy, or we live in the real world where things happen. So I want people to be really comfortable with themselves. I want them to be happy. I want them to find that inner joy like I did. So I feel like part of the way that I can help people do that and achieve that is to tell my story and to continue to share the things that I've gone through. When I was actually in my corporate job in 2007, I knew that I had to make a change. I was really uncomfortable with my body. I always felt like something was pushing me from the inside. I always felt swollen, I had a lot of inflammation, and I knew also with my corporate job that I wasn't living the lifestyle that I wanted to. I was working all the time, I wasn't eating properly. If I was hungry, I would just go get a coffee. So I was completely ignoring my body and ignoring everything that I needed to do to take care of myself. I was actually sharing my story with my friends and family, and one of my really good friends, Sean, encouraged me to get Colonics. And I thought about how embarrassed I might be, that maybe I wasn't eating as good as I should have, so I was really embarrassed about a therapist kind of seeing that. I also didn't know what to anticipate. It's a little uncomfortable. I didn't know if I was going to be by myself or with someone. I just didn't know how that was going to go. So when Sean mentioned Colonics to me, I remembered in massage school in 1997 that my teacher did Colonics. And I remember her always talking about it and the importance of it. And also she educated me on how often we should have bowel movements and some foods to stay away from so we would have a healthy colon. So because of my desperation and I was in so much pain, and again when I was just kind of pleading and not knowing what to do, I started looking online for solutions again, and I ran across a clinic that was around the corner from my house. When I found BodyFlo, I decided to book an appointment. And I thought, okay, I'll start with 3 just to see how it goes. So I went in and I told her, and the therapist was great. She was very welcoming, it was very comfortable. She walked through the process of everything that was going to take place. When I arrived, I was really nervous, and I'm not really sure if the receptionist could tell, but it is something that's kind of uncomfortable. But she made me feel very warm and welcomed right away. And even sitting down and filling out my paperwork, I just felt like I was in the right place. So one of the things I was concerned about when I was choosing a facility to get Colonics was how aesthetically pleasing is it? How clean are they? How educated is the therapist? And I was so excited to see that it was very clean and it was inviting. And before I started my session, the therapist educated me on exactly what was going to take place. I got to see everything prior. One thing I was surprised was that the room was more like a spa. I thought it was going to be clinical with just, you know, that clinical feeling, but this was warm and I felt comfortable. I felt like if I were going to design a room in my home, this is what it would look like. So when I saw the table, I was in the room, I was very surprised because I felt like I was in a private room and the amenities were fantastic. They actually had a little TV so I could pick out something on Netflix. She made me feel very comfortable because of all the issues that I was having. She assured me that this would probably help, being the condition that I had with everything that I was experiencing with my back pain and all of my female issues. So I was convinced that I needed to do this treatment. So after my first 3 treatments, I actually thought that I would have a little bit more that I released. And she educated me on the fact that I was probably so impacted that my walls became so hard that it didn't matter everything that I ate in the past, that everything was just kind of going through. And it started to make sense of everything that was happening to me because I was so strict about my diet. I was so strict about exercising, but I was so frustrated that my body never changed. So after the 3 sessions, I still had the backache, I still had the bloating, I still had the frustration. So she encouraged me to do more treatment. So I ended up doing 6 sessions. And after that, I still didn't have the kind of relief that I was looking for. In fact, I thought to myself, I must have a really healthy colon. In fact, I was so frustrated that here I thought that I was wasting my money again. I was trying something else, trying to find something to solve my problems. And I felt the energy of the therapist. She was very encouraging, and I decided to do another session. So on my 7th session, I finally had some relief. And what she explained to me was that I was so dehydrated that my body was just soaking it up. And it was hydrating my wall so that way the buildup could actually be released in time. So on my 7th session, I actually felt that release and I saw some of the buildup that came out. And it wasn't anything that was recent, which I was appalled. I was actually, all of the swelling and the bubbling and the pressure, I could actually feel it. Even though it was a little bit uncomfortable, it made me realize what was deep in my stomach and that pressure that was pushing on my bladder and my uterus. And so when that came out, I actually felt so much relief. I noticed when I got home that day, normally what was happening in the last few months prior to my sessions is that I had to push myself up off the ground. I had to support myself when I got up off of the chair. And I realized after that last session that I didn't have to do that. And I actually got on the floor and I could get up, I could bend over. I felt like my body was actually moving again. And I was so thankful, and the tears just started pouring out of my eyes because I felt like I finally had relief. I finally found something that was alleviating the pressure in my back. One of the things I noticed was that my body was actually changing on its own. Before, I felt really heavy around the hips. I felt like my circulation and my inflammation, I just felt really heavy. And after my sessions, I started to feel like my body was slimming down. My legs were becoming smaller, my hips were becoming smaller. As I've noticed, every day there's something different. I mentioned my lymphatic system turning on, but I actually noticed that my skin is becoming healthier. That softness, I don't have any more bumps, it's very smooth, which I've never had smooth skin before. So Colonics has really helped me become a better author, a better friend, and a better teacher and mentor. I feel so empowered, I feel more authentic than I've ever felt. I feel so much joy. I wish that I would have done Colonics 20 years ago. My first book, I was excited to publish, and as I'm writing my second one, I couldn't help but write a whole chapter about Colonics because it's so important, and I feel the need to tell everyone that this is a good foundation and a place to start. Part of my spiritual work and being a mentor is really encouraging people. This is one area that I feel compelled to tell people. I also know the importance of continuing these sessions because it took years to build it up, and I know it might take some time to really undo the damage. So I joke about the times when I used to eat Wonder Bread and bologna and cheese and Captain Crunch and all of those things that are really processed and not good for our bodies. I'm excited now that I actually have that fresh start that I was looking for. So now that I'm eating better and choosing to eat good foods and vegetables, that it's making a difference because my body is now able to absorb those foods and I can actually get the energy that is supposed to feed my body. So the life that I have been looking for is finally actually happening. This is really the connection full circle. This is the piece that I feel like I was actually missing. That mind and that soul, and this really brought in that body piece of it. So now I feel complete. I can't believe how much my life has changed. I'm now living a healthier life. If you're having any issues with your body, they may differ from mine, but I know that everything starts in the colon. I am convinced of that. So whether you're bloating or have back pain or menstrual problems, whatever it may be, you need a fresh start. Start with Colonics.